Hi boys and girls, today we're going to be creating the grass that we're going to weave our snakes through. So think about colors for grasses. Grasses are probably greens, maybe you want some yellow for highlights in there. If some of your grass has some deads, you might have some brown. I suppose tan would be another kind of brown. You may even want a little bit of white. So those would be the colors I would put in the grass. I'm probably not going to put very much of these because I want most of my grass to be live. But you're going to take whatever colors you're using, and starting at the bottom, you're going to make grassy lines. So lines that go straight up from the bottom to the top. I guess you could go from the top to the bottom, right? I'm going to go both directions because I want it to look like very tall grass that my snake is going to be slithering through. And I'm just going to use all these colors. I'm going to do some wavy lines. You could do straight lines if you want, wavy, whatever you think looks best. But do make sure you have grass going all the way up to the top because we're going to be weaving all through all of this, okay? Yellow will probably look like maybe the sun is shining on some of my grass. I'm even going to do some white because that would be like a reflection color, and we're going to paint over this with green so the white will show up, won't it? I'm going to put a little bit of white in here. You don't have to do white if you don't want to, and you don't have to do brown if you don't want to, but you definitely need some green, right? Green lines. And I'm going to do a little bit of brown, just a few, because then it makes it look more real to me. The grass gets that way after it's old, right? Or if it gets too dry and doesn't have enough water, if it doesn't rain for a few days sometimes. All right, there we go. I might put just a little bit more green. I like that dark green. All right. So you should have all these colors in your crayon box. Just grab your crayons, put your lines on, and then once we've all got our lines on, don't forget this. Before we start to paint on here, I want to be sure I have my name and class code on the back. I'm just going to use a purple crayon because it's easy to see. And your class code, you are either with me, let's see, in 2A, or you're in 2B, or 2C. There we go. Flip it over. Each table is going to have a tray with some paints, some temper cakes. Or let's see, if I'm at Grant Wood, well, we'll have temper cakes, but they'll just be in a different kind of tray. And everybody's going to need a water dish to share with your partner. And Mrs. Walker's got some big brushes that'll save us some time. If we're at Paul Norton and at Grant Wood, I don't know if I have big brushes, but we'll look, we'll see. The bigger the brush, the quicker we can do this because we want to make our snakes next, okay? So what two colors are we going to use to paint? Yeah, in this selection, there's a dark green and a light green, okay? Maybe you only have one of these, you just use the green, okay? We're not going to use or wake up any of these other colors at all because that would not be grass colors, okay? So I'm just going to turn it this way because I'm going to use those two. And you're going to get them wet. With temper cakes, it's a really dry paint, so you got to wet it, wake it up, and you got to stir it a lot because otherwise you're just going to be painting with water. So stir, 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 stir until that puddle that you see turns really green, okay? And then you're ready to paint. And look at that. That's a nice green. That really looks like grass to me. I like it. You can use the light green too if you have it. I don't know if that one looks as much like it. I like the darker green best, I think. But you can decide. I mean, it's yours. If you have that choice, I don't know. I don't always have the same supplies at both buildings, but whichever one, whatever we have to work with, that's what we're going to do, okay? All right. After you've painted it, made sure it's completely covered from top to bottom, this goes on the drying rack, and then we will, and maybe, I guess, just wait for everybody else so we can move on to how to make our snakes. Probably just read a book while you're waiting, okay?